Today, we're going on a tiny things hunt. How tiny are these tiny things? I'll tell you how tiny. This tiny. You can use a popsicle stick if you have one, and you can draw a little dot on it, like this. About that big, about the size of a thumb. Speaking of which, if you don't have one of these, you can use your thumb. You can use a tiny cup. You can use a tiny spoon. Find something tiny in your house that you can compare it to, or something on your body, like your thumb. A note about tiny things. You can remind yourself that tiny things are for looking at and going, ooh, they are not for eating or putting in your mouth. You can remind your baby. You can remind your grown-ups. You can remind everyone around you. You can say tiny things are not for eating, they're for going, ooh. I am going to use my popsicle stick with my little marking on it. Time to go on the hunt. I am outside on the hunt. I'm looking for tiny things. What a thrilling hunt. This is what I found. I found a tiny leaf. I found a tiny rock. I found a tiny seed. I wonder why that was out there. It kind of looked like it was nibbled down. I found another tiny leaf. I found a tiny flower. I found a big flower, but I thought it was so cool that I couldn't resist. That means I could not help myself but collect it. You can do that too. When we see cool things, scientists go, ooh, and they ask questions, and that's what I did. I saw this piece of candy, which is also not very tiny, but I wanted to collect it anyway. And I saw this tiny Lego. I can do so many things with my tiny things. I can line my tiny things up from biggest to smallest. This is biggest. This seems like it's next. I bet this is next. All the way down to my smallest. You can do that if you want to. I can turn my tiny things into a mini museum. Have you been to a museum? If you've been to a museum, you know that they tell you all about things. But before we can tell about things, we have to learn about things. So I am going to start questioning some of my tiny things. Like this. I think I've seen this before. Have you? It looks like a flower to me. I see that the color is pink. I see that it is small, but the leaves aren't all spread out like sometimes you see at a flower. This is something called a bud, and I know that because I read it in a book. So I might put this in my museum, and I might write a sign with the help of a grown-up, if I want to. And I'm going to write, it says, flower bud. And I just took some scrap paper, and I can make a little sign that goes under my flower bud. So when people come and visit my mini museum, they'll know what they're looking at. You don't have to keep your mini museum if you don't want to. You can just put it back outside or wherever you found it or in the garbage. But I would like to keep my mini museum, so I'm going to find something. Best if you could find something that closes, because some of us have babies and they don't appreciate mini museums like we do. So we can put our mini museum things inside something with a lid. And I'm going to put my tags in here in case I want to pull it out and show somebody later. And I can even write on my piece of paper, I can say, my mini museum. My paper's a little big, so I'm ripping it. And then, see, I put my mini museum. It all starts with M. M, 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 M. So then we can take some tape. And I'm going to tape on so that everybody knows this is my mini museum. Or you can put your name, like Sammy's Mini Museum or Margot's Mini Museum. And then I'm going to close the jar. And I can put it up somewhere high on a table or a desk or a shelf so that my babies don't get my mini museum. Because mini museums are not for eating, they're for going ooh. Thank you for watching and listening. I will probably be posting more videos about counting and sorting and collecting and doing all that stuff. It is one of my favorite things to do. It is so good for our brain to do it. So keep an eye out for that. And I will see you all soon. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Bye now.